All right, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, Office Olympics. We're going to get some tips to get active at work today. And I hope you all plan to watch some of our amazing athletes compete in the Olympics starting this week too. Before we get started with some ways that you can add in some activity in your day, just a couple of those normal items to take care of. We will hopefully have some time for questions at the end of the presentation, and you can type those into your question box in the lower portion of your control panel. We will be posting a recording of the webinar online, but if you would like a copy of the presentation in PDF format, or if your question does not get answered today, please email our support inbox, which will be shown at the end as well. All right, here is our agenda for today. Pretty simple. We'll first discuss why you need to be sure you're incorporating movement throughout your day and not relying only on that activity you do before and after work. Then we'll go through some specific ideas for you and your coworkers to get active throughout your day. So this topic has gotten a decent amount of press in the last few years, and for good reason. We're learning more and more that sitting for long periods of time affects our health in many ways. Sitting for prolonged periods of time increases our risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, just to name a few big ones. Researchers believe that being sedentary has a direct effect on our insulin resistance, which is why it can lead to that diabetes. This is extremely important to note because sitting can start to affect our insulin resistance in as little as 1 day. Yes, 1 day of excessive sitting and your body doesn't handle its blood sugars as well. That's crazy. But that's why we need to be sure we're incorporating as much activity or specifically just movement into our day as possible. Another factor to consider is stress and stress relief. If you're sitting at your desk all day and working on a stressful project, you are not only hurting your physical health, you're hurting your mental health as well. Taking 5, 2, or even 1 minute to get up and walk around can help you reset and provide some relief from that stress. When we move, we release feel-good hormones that help combat the stress hormones in our body. So get up and de-stress. Another somewhat related topic is productivity. Now think about it. When you sit staring at the same thing for too long, your brain starts to get kind of numb, right? We find ourselves just starting to stare at the monitor, but not really doing anything or getting anywhere. When we move, more blood flows to our brain, bringing oxygen to give us that refresh that we need. So getting up can give you a chance to come back with a new focus. Also, taking a break can actually fuel your creativity. We can kind of get too close to a project sometimes, and just getting up, talking with someone else, looking out the window, or getting outside can trigger that spark or get you unstuck with a project or a problem. Now, this is what I'm going to talk about on the why today. I don't really feel like I'm doing it justice to exactly why you should be moving, but I really want to get to some actual tips for the vast majority today. So just please trust me, or do your own research, and you'll start to see why our sedentary lifestyles need to change, and they need to change now. Now, I know there are professions where this is going to be harder than others. So all I'm going to ask you today is that you start paying attention and taking advantage of the times that you can get up and get moving. It doesn't have to be a long time getting up, just enough to get that blood flowing. Here's another factor to consider as well. If you're someone that sits all day and then goes and does your gym routine, that's fantastic. But you're still at risk of negative health outcomes if you are sitting all day long. That 1 hour of exercise is absolutely benefiting you, but all those hours of sitting can negate some of those benefits. So you don't want to go there and then not get all the benefits, right? An article that was just published this fall in the Annals of Internal Medicine stated that the, quote, least harmful pattern was to sit less than 30 minutes at a time before getting up for some movement. They said sitting for 90 minutes or more at a time was the very, very worst pattern for your health. So I thought today we'd just meet in the middle for a realistic goal. If possible, I'd like you to set a goal today of getting up every hour for at least a minute to get your heart pumping, maybe get that heart rate elevated just a little bit. We'll talk about some things you can do here. Again, I want to give you good examples. But let's start with our overall goal. So 30 minutes is better, so if you can do that, great. If not, try for that 60-minute mark. At a very minimum, get up every 90 minutes, as again, longer than that was the most harmful pattern as far as negative health effects. So this is just like any other goal, any other habit we are trying to create. So you'll have to work hard and be consistent to make it become second nature. The first thing you need to think about is that you need a cue to remind you to stand up. We probably all know that we should, but you get zoned in, you're working, and you don't even think about getting up, and all of a sudden 2 hours are passed, right? Now that cue can be from a fitness tracker that vibrates if you haven't taken enough steps that hour. I have one that does that, and it's great. It's a great way to know that you haven't moved enough within that 60 minutes. But I can tell you from experience, it's also easy to ignore that little annoyance and just keep working. So you have to teach yourself how to be mindful and not just say, oh, I'll get up later. Because guess what? You probably won't. And I know that it's not always going to be realistic to get up and walk for a minute whenever it goes off, but you do need to be sure you aren't ignoring it when it is realistic to do so. If you don't have a fitness tracker, you can use your phone, you can use your computer to set reminders. Again, it's easy to ignore these messages, but that's the habit we're creating, is to not ignore the messages so you're getting up at least the majority of the time. One great way to help this mindfulness is to have someone else set the same goal in your workplace. If you're in an office setting, tell your nearest neighbor your goal and then see if they will help you stay accountable with it and do it with you as well would be ideal. In fact, here at HealthCheck, we have a designated health coach that sends an email to go out in the morning and in the afternoon with some ideas for some quick movements to do. So this not only gets you up and moving, but it can be that quick mental break that you need as well. So designate a coworker or yourself to send out those reminders. In a lot of email programs, you can set the emails to send at specific times too, so you're not worried about forgetting to actually send that email out. You can set them ahead of time. Now, if you think you don't have time to get up and move, that you just have too much work to do, consider that there are many supporting studies that find that you are more productive when you give yourself breaks throughout the day. Filling up your water bottle is another great excuse to get up and walk to the sink or fountain. And drinking more water is great for your health too, so win-win. And your bladder will also trigger you more if you drink more water, so bonus activity, bonus steps right there. In all seriousness though, if you can create movement throughout their day, you are going to stay healthier. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but every little movement that you do can help. Like I said, with the insulin resistance, with diabetes risk, with just heart disease, those types of things. It's so, so important to stay active. Also, think about the boredom factor and snacking. If you're just sitting there at your desk or wherever getting bored, which I know none of you do because you're always working so hard, but me, for example, if you get bored, a lot of times we reach for a snack because we think we're hungry, but we're just bored. So if you decide to take a quick walk instead of grabbing something to eat, you can prevent extra calories going in and get some extra calories going out. Perfect, right? All right, so let's talk about some things you can do during your day to keep you active. I'm going to start easy, then we'll get into some more different exercises that you can do and other ways to incorporate more activity into a regular routine. So I just want to start with some stretching. So you can do these right at your desk while you're sitting, reading an email, talking on the phone, or after you've just had your nice walk around the office to warm up your muscles. If you are in a manual labor position, you can use these stretches as a break in your day, actually, kind of the opposite. In fact, if you want to right now, we can do them together as we go through them. Now, if you have any physical reasons you shouldn't join, please just listen, take notes, and then do them when you're physically able to do so. So first ones I want to start off with, simple neck stretches. I've got pictures of most of the stretches for a reference here. So first, I want you to just sit up nice and tall, put your feet flat on the floor, and then just bring your right ear down towards your shoulder nice and gently until you feel that stretch in the left side of your neck. You can use your hand like in the picture to stretch it a bit further, but you don't have to, as long as you're feeling a stretch. So hold this for a few seconds, and then we'll switch to the other side for a few seconds. Same thing, left ear down to left shoulder. Feel that stretch in that neck. All right, now we're just gonna look side to side, that top right picture. So stay in the same position, facing forward. Turn your head to the right and just try to look over your shoulder till you feel that stretch in your neck. And hold that for a few seconds and look over the other direction. One thing to keep in mind when you're sitting here, you can keep those those ab muscles, those stomach muscles nice and tight too. Keep that core engaged and get a nice workout while you're doing the stretches too. All right, let's get the back of that neck. Slowly bring your chin down towards your chest, and then very gently just roll your head from side to side. Again, real gently. The neck can get kind of tricky, so just be real gentle with it. Don't overstretch. And I'm not going to do an upward right now because, again, we get into a little bit of trickiness with injuries and stuff like that, so I'm not going to do the back look right now. All right, I just want to do some shrugs next. This doesn't have to be, or this doesn't have a picture, excuse me, but hopefully should be simple enough to explain. So just raise both your shoulders up towards your ears. Hold for a few seconds. I really like this one because once you lower your shoulders back down, go ahead and lower them down, I feel like you realize what position they should be in. We hold a lot of tension in our shoulders. So this is a good reminder. Keep them nice and relaxed and not pulled up and tense towards our ears all the time. Nice and low, nice long neck. All right, next, bottom right picture. Interlace your fingers and then reach up toward the ceiling as high as you can, turning your palms upwards, so facing the ceiling. You should feel this in your forearms, your upper arms, your back, your abs, all over. And if you want to add to this, you can lean to one direction till you feel a nice bigger stretch down your whole side. And then you can lean it to the other direction. Nice stretch in here. All right, I'm going to switch it to the lower body here for a couple. We're going to stretch those hamstrings a bit first, so the backs of those upper legs. Now again, disclaimer here, if you have a chair with wheels, please either put the stoppers on it or find another chair to use. I do not want anyone falling out of their chairs today, and I actually have a roller right now, so I'm not going to be able to do this one. Okay, now that we are on safe chairs, I want you to scooch a bit towards the end of your chair, edge of your chair, excuse me, and then straighten your right leg out, and then just rest your heel on the ground, pointing your toes upward. Then just reach down towards your toes until you feel that stretch in the back of your leg, and you'll probably feel it all the way down. The picture on the left here is a modified version where they keep their knees bent, which is fine too, but you're going to get more of a stretch if you keep your legs straight. So do what's comfortable for you. Now again, switching legs here. If you're flexible enough to touch your toes, you can pull back on those a little bit too to get a bonus calf stretch as well. All right, so let's get into those glutes a little bit here, that top stretch. I love this stretch so much. So again, sit up nice and tall toward the edge of your chair. Bring your right ankle up to rest on your left leg, just a touch above your knee, like the top right picture. Now, for some of us, this is stretching enough, right? But if you're not feeling it that much, you can go ahead and lean your upper body forward until you feel that stretch in the upper part of your leg and those glutes, those butt muscles in there. So hold this for a bit. You can hold onto your foot too if you want to pull yourself a little deeper. Again, just being careful. It's pressure, not pain, we should be feeling. All right, switch sides, bring the other ankle up. And again, if it's stretching enough just to bring it up, that's great. Otherwise, you can lean it forward a little bit just so you can feel that nice stretch, being mindful not to go too far. All right, another one for the same area is just a knee hug, that bottom left picture. So bend your right leg, bring that knee up towards your chest, and then just, you can wrap your arms around it. You can just keep your hands around it and just pull it in as close to your body as is comfortable. Hold it, feel that stretch. Sometimes you can feel the stretch actually in your hip flexors on the front side. That means they're probably too tight, like mine are right now. But you should mostly feel it in the back of that leg and those glutes. All right, switching sides. Pull that other knee in. Still sitting up nice and tall. That guy's got a little bit of bad posture there. Sit up nice and tall, taller than he is. All right. Another favorite for me, just a simple chest opener, that bottom right one. This specific stretch is extremely important for those of us who sit at a desk at a computer all day. If we aren't paying attention throughout the day, our shoulders start to slump forward, creating terrible postures, and actually our chest muscles can actually start to shorten up on us, making our posture even worse the longer that we do it. So Sitting up nice and tall again with your feet flat on the floor. Bring those arms behind you. Lift that chest up nice and high. Bring that chin nice and high, not looking all the way up, but just good posture there again. Lift that chest up. If you can reach back and interlace your fingers. Otherwise, just hold them back there as far as you can, like our man in purple there. Just a little side note on posture. You can relax if you want to, or you can keep stretching. Again, sitting all day is bad enough, but when we have poor posture, we're not doing ourselves any favors. So if you have to sit, having good posture can prevent things like headaches and back pain. A lot of complaints when people sit all day are those big things. So a couple notes to be aware of. Make sure your chair is at the right height for you. Your feet should be flat on the floor, and your knees and your hips should both be at 90-degree angles, not ankles. Keep your lower back pressed against your chair. And then to avoid that head leaning forward too much, it's recommended that you have the top 1/3 of your computer monitors above eye level. So grab some risers if you need them. Now, if you're finding that your chair's not fitting you, talk to your employer, talk to everyone, see what you can do, because we want to make sure those ergonomics are good for you. Otherwise, we might have those concerns. All right, one more stretch I want to add that's specific to those that type all day and also for those of you in our transportation businesses. It's a simple hand stretch. Whether you're typing all day or hanging onto a steering wheel all day, our fingers, hands, and wrists pay the price. Doing regular stretching can help prevent arthritis and carpal tunnel. So here's what you can do at your desk when you're pulled over at a rest stop or even at a red light. First, just do some simple hand rotations. So hold your hands out in front of you, just rotate those wrists around in a circle left and right. Now, facing your palms up in the air, place the pads of your fingers either on the ledge of your desk or on your steering wheel, and then just apply gentle pressure, stretching the wrists, and you should really feel the stretch in your forearms. Hold that for a little bit. Now flip your hands over, putting your fingernails in the same spot, stretching the tops of the wrists and the tops of the forearms. Now with that picture, if you don't have anything to push against, just do one hand at a time and use the other hand as the resistance. I said that little inserted picture there, and then you can flip your hands over. So those are nice, good stretches for those of you who get some wrist soreness by driving or typing and all that good stuff. All right, so those are some stretches that you can do. Let's talk about some actual movement, a little more movement here. Again, these can be done, still can be done if you're reading something, if you're on a conference call, muted of course, or during your hourly movement break that you are all going to be incorporating now, right? Now, the point of this is not to get you drenched in sweat and to annoy your neighbors with your smell. It's just to get that blood flowing and that heart rate up for a few minutes. So don't think you have to go crazy with these. Again, we're just getting that blood movement. Small things are going to add up to good health here. All right, so first, keeping it simple, just walking, jogging, or running in place. You can even do that invisible jump rope option to switch it up. So just stand up and you're ready to go. I'm not going to do this, otherwise I'm going to run out of breath while I'm talking. But like I talked about in the beginning, just getting up regularly and moving is going to improve how your body processes sugar, how you focus, things like that. So this is a really easy way to stay at your desk and still get those benefits. All right, let's keep it with that lower body and let's do some squats. A really good way to be sure that you're keeping good form with your squats is stand in front of your chair, just a couple steps, and then squat down like you're going to sit down on the very front edge of your chair, but then stop just above it. So your knees should not be in front of your toes. Just sit back into that squat. And then you can stand back up. Again, keeping your core nice and tight when you do all of these. And with this and with the next exercises I'm going to talk about, just start off, if you want to do 5, if you want to do 10 or 15, you can eventually work up to more sets of them, which is basically just doing them and then taking a break or doing another exercise in between and then doing 10 more again. It's an easy way to progress and keep track of how well you're doing. You can track this on myhealthcheck360.com actually if you want to. Just put in how much you're doing and then you can set those small goals. All right, lunges are another option to hit that lower body. This picture here is a good example of using your chair to steady yourself. If you're wearing crazy high heels like this woman is, I would actually suggest taking off your shoes so you don't twist an ankle. But anyways, there's a few different ways to do lunges. I like to actually do this step backward into the lunge. It's a little easier on your knees. So if you're standing up with your feet together, just take a nice step backwards, and then you just bend down, again, keeping that upper body nice and tall, bend down into that lunge. And then step back with your feet together. Again, you can step forward if you want to. Just be sure, just like that squat, that your knee that your knee doesn't go in front of your toes, that front knee. And then don't forget to do both sides. You can get the benefits on both legs. You can also do pulse lunges. So this is simply getting down into that lower position as low as is comfortable. Again, don't force yourself down there. Then you just stay there, just kind of pulsing up and down a little bit. And again, you got to switch sides when you're doing that one. If you pulse, just do it for 10, 15, 20 seconds, however you're comfortable with. I would say the pulse is a good progression if you're used to the regular lunges. All right, let's move up to a couple upper body options now. Desk push-ups. This is exactly what it sounds like. Keeping your body nice and straight. Again, tightening up those stomach muscles. Use your desk and do some push-ups. So you're just going to lean down on your desk and then get your chest as close to your desk as you can to see those best benefits during the push-ups. Now, some people like to keep their hands a little further apart and then let their elbows go outward during the push-ups. Some people like to keep their hands a little closer and keep your elbows in their body. Either is fine, but if you want to work your triceps or the backs of those arms a little bit more, keep your elbows in close to your sides as you lower yourself down. Keep the elbows pointing backwards. You're definitely going to feel a difference. So again, 10, 5, 10, however many you can do with the push-ups. Now, speaking of triceps, the next exercise is specifically for them. Now, I consider this one to be a bit more advanced because you can really have the wrong form if you're not careful, so just be aware of that. Now, you want to use either a lower ledge, like a window ledge, or a chair that doesn't have wheels again. So you're going to sit on the edge of your chair or the ledge and position your hands slightly wider than shoulder width apart, really not much, right at kind of where your hips are. Then you want your fingers over the edge. Now move your butt out over the edge with your legs either straight with your heels on the ground, or you can have them bent with your feet flat on the ground, straight being the more difficult option. So now all you're going to do, bend your elbows, lowering your body down below that ledge, keeping the elbows pointed straight back and nice and close to your sides, and then straightening back out again, coming back up. Now, the thing to be careful of here is those shoulders. If you have your butt too far in front of you, you can put a lot of stress on the front of those shoulders. So just really be aware of this. All right, let's go back to the lower body to give those arms a break. So when you're doing these exercises, if you plan to do all of them at once, you're just going to want to alternate some lower body, then some upper body, so you don't tire one set of muscles out too much, because then you lose your good form, which can raise your risk of injury. So let's just do some simple calf raises. Stand behind your desk or wherever you are, and you can use something for balance if you need to. All you have to do, raise those heels off the floor, coming onto your toes, and lower yourself back down. If you have heels on, this isn't going to work very well. So again, if you can slip those off, it's going to be best. Again, calves, those lower part of those legs, just raise up and then back down. Hold it for about a second and back down. And again, as a reminder, work yourself up to 10 or 15, then you can add more sets in there as a progression. All right, let's talk some glutes again, those poor muscles that we sit on all day long. The simple glute squeeze is a great option for not just during your break, but anytime during the day when you're sitting. And again, those of you in the transportation industry, you can do these all day long when you're driving down the road. The glute squeeze is called an isometric exercise. This is a fancy way of saying you squeeze a muscle without moving anything. So all you have to do, sit again with that good posture that we talked about, squeeze those glute muscles for about 10 to 30 seconds. Easy, right? And you can hold it, or you can count numbers as well if you want to do like 10 squeezes and then relax. It's up to you, as long as you're working those muscles. Now, this may seem simple, but you're working those muscles, you're burning a few extra calories in the process, and who doesn't want that part of your body to look good, right? Get those muscles built up. All right, another isometric exercise you can do is for your abs. So sit up in that good posture, Pull that belly button back towards your spine, tightening up all those stomach muscles. I've been mentioning this throughout the webinar, but really focus on those. Tighten them up as much as you can. Follow those same rules for the glutes. You can hold it if you want, or you can just do 12 squeezes and whatever it may be. Again, great for anyone, anytime, even your drivers, or if you're sitting on an airplane waiting for takeoff, get to squeezing. All right. If you have small hand weights you can bring into the office, or if you can grab a water bottle or something similar around, you can do some shoulder presses and bicep curls as well. For the shoulder presses, just bringing those elbows out to the sides, putting a 90-degree angle at your shoulder and your elbow. Then you're just extending those arms up to the ceiling and then back down to 90 degrees. For the bicep curls, you're going to bring those elbows in to your side like the picture, and then lift that weight up towards your shoulder. You can do either of these exercises standing or sitting. Now, a quick internet search will give you plenty more ideas for exercises, but hopefully I've given you some ideas to start today. And then to finish things off, because we're almost out of time, just a few more ideas to build activity into your day. Use your lunches. Get up and moving for a few minutes. You've got an hour lunch, you have no excuse to not get up and move. If you have a half an hour lunch like I do, you can still take half of that time. It's not going to take you that long to eat typically. And if you go out to eat for lunch, try packing your lunch a couple times with some healthier options. There you go. There's a win-win for you. Take the stairs instead of the elevator or escalator. Park further away if possible, wherever you are. If you can, get yourself a standing desk to be able to stand more often throughout the day, or you can sit on an exercise ball to engage that core a little bit more. If you don't need a computer or screen, take a meeting around the office or outside and talk while you walk. If you're traveling, use that hotel gym or your hotel room to do these exercises. Again, if you're waiting for a flight, walk around the airport. Don't just sit around. Bottom line, be mindful of getting in some extra movement. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just make it a goal to get a few more steps in activity here and there. Every single minute counts, and your body and your mind will thank you. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Here are our next webinars. March is going to be Meal Prep Madness. We're going to teach you how to start meal prepping and preparing those good meals throughout the week so you don't have to worry about what your suppers are going to be. And then in April, sorry we don't have the picture yet, but it's going to be well-rounded workouts, so it's getting the most out of your exercise routine. So we're going to talk about strength, cardio, stretching, how to kind of make that exercise routine work the best for you. And then contact us with any questions, anything going on. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. The blog is where you're going to watch the recordings of the webinars. And take note, we do have a new website for our blog. It's HealthCheck360.com/blog. So it's a little bit different than what you've seen in the past. We're on Instagram, or give us a call, shoot us an email. Again, if I don't have time for your question today, just go ahead and send that to healthcoach@healthcheck360.com. So for those of you that do have to take off, thank you so much. Otherwise, I'm going to see if there's any questions here. So give me just a minute.